Good evening and good to have you with us in the 8 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, tonight we've decided to continue with the big issue that we picked up yesterday. The big issue of killer potholes that plague the biggest, the most cosmopolitan, the most so-called developed cities of our country. The big cities where thousands of crores of taxpayers' money is being collected by the civic bodies, by various authorities in the government. Yet, what people get are roads with craters. The death of a 75-year-old due to a pothole is a very big issue for me. I cannot imagine a country where people are dying on our roads not because they were negligent, but because we couldn't build and construct proper roads or maintain them. I cannot imagine that even after a person is killed because of these potholes, various departments of the government, various authorities, developmental authorities, civic bodies are more interested in blame game. And more importantly, I cannot imagine how is it that despite this death, a shoddy repair work, in the name of repair, some amount of work is actually done by the civic body. Look at how the pothole is actually fixed. When we were told that the civic authorities have fixed this pothole that claimed the 75-year-old physically disabled man's life, we decided to go and check. And I kid you not, yesterday I gave an example of something like this that happened in Mumbai, where a citizen tweeted about a pothole, authorities came, filled it up only to make it like a tiny bump with just loose gravel. This is exactly what has happened in Bengaluru. The officials there have just gathered some mud and gravel and covered the part of the road to make it like a mini speed breaker. This is how we fix potholes in the city in monsoon after a person has been killed. The story doesn't end here. Our team decided to then do a reality check and visited parts of the city. And what we found will actually shock you if you don't live in Bengaluru. But if you do, then you know this already. In fact, if you do live in several of the other metro cities, you will see the same plight. Potholes across the city, except if you are in a very posh locality, where then thousands of crores are spent to beautify the roads. Tonight, I've opened up the phone lines. I don't know, viewers, what the solution is. We've spent hours discussing that, and none of that seems to have worked. But that cannot be the reason for why we stop talking about it. That cannot be the reasons for why we ignore this issue. Something as simple as building smooth roads that are built in VVIP areas, even if there is some problem, some digging up, a little bit of a pothole that gets created, overnight it gets fixed and everything is smooth again. But not when it comes to the common man and the roads that he takes and the bylanes and the highways that he uses. The lines are open. Join me in this conversation. Share your experiences. At least let our governments know that we are extremely disturbed and angry about it. Let me say good evening to the panelists who are joining me right now. Captain Ganesh Karnik, spokesperson for Karnataka BJP. Nagaraju Yadav, spokesperson for the Congress Party. Mr. Naresh Narasimhan, urban planner, joins me this evening. Saurabh Kumar, co-founder for Pothole Raja. Professor Kshitij, active citizen, adjunct professor at the National Law School of India, joining me this evening as well. Let me start with Saurabh. Saurabh, yesterday we spoke about this issue, we reported on it, and we had a big discussion. And repeatedly I was being asked, well, what is the solution? What are the solutions that you're offering? Repeatedly in our conversation, what came out was, we've been speaking about this for years together. Citizens have taken it up, especially in cities like Bengaluru and Mumbai, where you have a very active set of citizens who do raise their voices against such issues. But tell me, how do we fix this where a civic body doesn't just blame another authority and converts a pothole into a speed breaker, which will again get destroyed in 24 hours?
Yeah. So, first of all, this is very unfortunate that, every monsoon, this is the same situation across the country. At the same time, the solution that we have been, if you ask me about the solution that we have been focusing on, first, we emphasize a lot more on citizen participation in terms of reporting portals to us. And henceforward, what we do is we use something called, cold asphalt, which is all weather proof solution. And we have been using that for the last, now in fact, 4 years. Across 9 cities, we have fixed more than 8,500 potholes. And that's how we continue to, kind of take care of the reports that comes across to us. And at the same time, we work with a lot of, companies and individual bodies, NGOs across the country to ensure that how can we know understand the scenario that is there, and every monsoon this is the same condition. But what are the things that we can do from our side? If we can fix a pothole, it definitely saves 1,000 lives minimum per day. So certain things that we can take action from our side is something that we believe, and we our approach is more towards the problem solving. That's where we have
Saurabh,
been focusing
tell me
on.
this on a daily or a weekly basis, how many such complaints do you get? How many people reach out to you with specific issues, pictures, or videos of potholes in their area?
So on a daily basis, during the non-monsoon time, we receive around 8 to 10 complaints. During monsoon, every year, we receive around 40 to 50 complaints on our platform, on our WhatsApp number, when people report potholes by sending us the pictures and GPS location to us. That's how we, live track where potholes are, and that we update on our website as well. So that's how we track the entire potholes, and this is not happening only in Bangalore. We are based out of Bangalore, but we receive complaints from across the country. It's a very ambitious goal and mission that we have to make our country pothole free. But what we believe is the participation of all stakeholders can enable us to at least get closer to that goal. And we that's where our organization sets our goal and vision towards.
Okay, well, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I hope that more and more people join you. But I also hope that this doesn't become an excuse for our authorities to not do their work. As much as I appreciate citizens coming together and resolving these issues, my problem is that when the authorities take that as an excuse to say, okay, let them do it. They are fixing the potholes. How can we do everything? How can we be everywhere? How can we be present? How can we, what can we do about rains? That's the other one. Mr. Narasimhan, good evening to you. What can we do about the rains? We do fix the potholes, and then they get destroyed within 24 hours, 1 week, 1 month. Sometimes we build roads and another department comes and digs it up to put their own water pipes or sewage repair work or optical fiber, and then leaves it like this. It's as if all these departments are working in their own planets without talking to each other. What can be done? Is it so difficult, Mr. Narasimhan, to actually have pothole-free roads?
Okay, so I'll make 3 points. And first of all, I cannot understand why there are potholes in the first place. I quite appreciate the work that Saurav and Pothole Raja and all these people are doing. But the whole point of a good road is that it should not develop potholes in the first place. Bangalore has proved that by using the Stender Sewer technology. In the center of Bangalore, now it's about a 47-kilometer long network, which has no potholes at all. Why does that happen? I mean, one of the streets is also an iconic street in Bangalore, which is probably, according to, I mean, if I may say so myself, one of the best streets in India, which is Church Street. The real issue with the road in India is not the tar and the black asphalt that you see on the top of it. It is what is under it. And what is under it is proper drainage. None of our roads are laid to international standards of drainage. The drainage map of the city is non-existent. And no, and when water puddles anywhere, asphalt and tar melts. That is the nature of bitumen and asphalt. You cannot have puddles anywhere when it rains. Potholes develop because it's bad gradient and bad drainage and poor road engineering. I'm sorry to say that the civil engineering and the soil experts of India, as well as the underground infrastructure experts of India, have failed us all completely. And all this problem is because of this one issue. If you fix the drainage, right? And in the center of Bangalore, we have a live example that it is perfectly done, and the drainage is connected to a stormwater network which takes it out into the right larger stormwater drain and then into the water bodies. If it is done right, potholes will never develop. Two, we spend a lot of money buying pothole filling machines for all our BBMP and various civic agencies. That money, instead of blowing it up on pothole filling machines, should go to doing roads right in the first place. The government has taken this tender sure scheme, which was actually a very good scheme, which fixed all these issues and also gave a manual of road design. And they've converted it into a travesty called Tender Sure Light. You can all guess what the light part is, LIT, like jet light or something, which only looks at the cosmetic changes and does nothing about the road surface beneath the surface of the road. So the answer to your question is, it will never go away unless you fix what is below the road. And the top part is just a cosmetic and the road wearing surface for automobiles and for pedestrians. If you fix the underground, all your problems are solved.
Oh yes, absolutely. You know, you use the right phrase, cosmetic changes.
Yeah.
Shockingly, in this case, when they decided to fill that pothole, they didn't even bother with the cosmetic changes. They didn't even bother to say that, okay, at least from top, it should look like we've done a decent job, no matter what is underneath that. Why is that, Captain Ganesh Karnik? Why are we taking people for a ride and making a fool out of them? We converted a pothole into a speed breaker with the way we repaired it. Captain Ganesh Karnik.
Good evening to all of you and all the co-panelists, and thanks for inviting me on this debate. You have brought out a very serious issue, and Professor Narasimhan has explained the kind of neglect that we have had continuously all these years in regard to road making. So I'm not taking it as an excuse. Neither I would say what has happened yesterday after the tragic incident happened in Bangalore city, and a lot of debate took place about the potholes in the city. There was an immediate reaction by the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Revenue Minister, and they have done some work. I'm not saying that they're not done anything. And to that extent, I must compliment you for having brought out this issue at a national level. Yes, there are issues about it. I personally feel because of the rains that has been happening in Bangalore city during the past 1 week or so, they have resorted to a temporary measure. Even if we had gone for any other mode of filling those spots, the same thing would have happened but for the rains. But I totally agree that we need to address this issue of quality roads from a very professional perspective, as mentioned by Professor Narasimhan. And these neglect towards, making our roads, user-friendly and, quality service-friendly and all those things have to be brought into the system. The last issue is the coordination between various departments that you have been mentioning. Yes, it's a major issue. I'm a spokesperson for the party, but I'm also a citizen of this country. I do understand the issue by an average citizen. It has to be addressed from a professional perspective. This is not the time to give excuses. This is not the time to find fault in the old system of making roads. We have the technology.
So, Captain Karnik, if I may, Captain Karnik, you say that after yesterday's horrific incident, which is the death of this elderly man because of the pothole, the Chief Minister swung into action. Now, what did the Chief Minister do? He said, I assure you, I'm putting a deadline that in 15 days, all potholes will be fixed as soon as the rain is over. Now, tell me, is that really also going to solve the problem? It's going to be the same temporary cosmetic fix that we have seen in this specific pothole. It's going to be the same thing, Captain Karnik. In one dumpster truck, a few men will sit with gravel and mud. They will go there, they will fill it up and drive over it to try and settle it, maybe sprinkle some water and get out of that place. That's not the solution we are looking for. This lip service has to stop. In the name of this, a lot of paperwork will take place, a lot of transactions will take place, some money will be made between the officials and the contractors, and that's that. In 15 days, the problem will be the same again. How is this any solution?
Well, I don't get into a debate with regard to what happened yesterday and between yesterday and today, and what is going to happen in the next 15 days. Let's wait and see.
You are telling me that the city authorities are capable of fixing all potholes in 15 days, and we haven't bothered to do it so far?
Don't you agree with me if I say that if we are serious about the issue, the same city authorities will deliver? Do we have shortage of technology? Don't we have the material? Yes. You raise certain issues about various aspects of getting things done and the bureaucracy and all that. Let's see, our Honorable Chief Minister has taken it seriously. And once the rains subside, definitely this issue will be addressed from a very serious perspective. I'm very confident about it. Let's not say that it has not happened in the past. No, nothing will happen in the future. I will communicate the concern and the feelings expressed in this debate and other debates where people have been expressing the similar feelings. I would definitely like to communicate the same thing to the concerned. Let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And the Honorable Chief Minister and the Revenue Minister, they've said by 30th of September, subject to the rains receding, we will see some quality work will ensure that.
Some quality work you will ensure. All right. Professor Kshitij, good evening to you. When we followed it up today, we went to the Bengaluru Development Authority and we spoke to them about what had happened. The very simple response to us was, it's not our fault. It's the water supply unit that had to do some sewage work. They illegally went and dug up this road and left. In fact, the BDA has turned around and said that they should pay us. The other department should pay us for destroying our road. Now, to me, this is a classic symptom, Professor, of what is happening in most cities. Multiple agencies, zero responsibility, only blame game. Is that your experience as well?
Well, good evening to all of you. If the BBMP did not have enough money, or if we hadn't spent money on the roads, I wouldn't be half as bothered on roads as I am about government hospitals and schools, etc. But we do spend a lot of money. So the question really is about where the money is going in the first place. So, I mean, if you look at the elephant in the room, or let's say 3 elephants in the room, I would say the first absolutely is the lack of accountability. I mean, there are potholes. Whom do you go and ask questions to? So that the first is about accountability. The second is about people's participation. I mean, there are all kinds of roads that are done. There are, roads that are dug up, and even local people do not know about what's happening in front of their own houses. So there is no space for people to participate and ask questions. And that space to ask questions is also rapidly dwindling. And the third, obviously, is about corruption. I mean, Mr. Narasimhan just spoke about the tender shore roads. And tender shore roads maybe they may look fancy, but they're not the answer at all, because we spend enough money on regular roads as it is. Tender shore roads may not have potholes for now, but if you look at Residency Road, Richmond Road, etc., the footpaths have collapsed on tender shore roads. So on the roads, there may not be potholes, but also there are no trees on tender shore roads. So they're technically very badly designed as such. So the third is obviously it's about corruption. It's about what idea of the city prevails, and also a lot of money that gets exchanged in the process of infrastructure, in the name of infrastructure in Bangalore and other metropolitan cities. So we have to look at what's substantial. And the potholes are just symptoms of a malaise, which is much more systemic. And that systemic malaise is of governance. It's really not just about BWSSP or the BDA blaming each other and the BBMP trying to educate, the whole process. It's about a lack of accountability, which directly reflects on the governance standards in our cities. And there has to be a system rejig as soon as possible. It's really not just about potholes, a lot of other issues in the city as well.
Captain Karnik, can you promise us this, since you're saying that yes, it is a problem as a citizen, you yourself obviously experience it and recognize it, that the Chief Minister is cognizant about it. Can you promise action against negligent, corrupt officials? A case after case, what we see is some temporary work being done to fix the road and a blame game. But if you don't fix the actual problem, how will we bring a change? Yes, Captain Karnik, the question to you.
Did you ask me this
Yes.
question? Okay. Can you come back, please?
No, my question to you is, can you
Hello?
assure us that the government will also look at taking action against negligent, corrupt officials, whether it's the BBMP or the BDA or whichever other authority under the state government? At the end of the day, there needs to be accountability for people who don't do their job and actually lead to these deaths.
I do appreciate the concern behind this question. I do understand that. But this malaise or this road, quality of road and resulting problems is not first of its kind. I don't think sitting here in this debate, I can assure you, I can promise you, because it has never happened. But what I can promise you is the concern, the severity of the problem, and this thing, I'll definitely bring it to the notice of the Chief Minister and the Minister concerned. But the government has to take a decision on that. If the problem can be identified, if responsibility can be fixed, I don't think our government will fall short of taking action on anybody for that matter.
Well, I believe this. I mean, I would say that we're living in very, very distorted times in a distorted society where the onus is on the victim to prove that the injury or the accident has been caused because of a pothole which is present, and yet no questions are asked of the officials who are responsible for those potholes. Even if you have to claim the compensation, you have to go through the whole process of proving that this pothole led to this injury. If by then the authority has decided to publicize about the fact that this road stretch has potholes, then they are rid of all responsibility. So they can go around digging or creating bad roads and never look back until they have to make money, and the citizens just have to deal with it or join Saurabh's movement where they take the responsibility of filling up the potholes themselves. I want to bring in Nagaraju Yadav, because I will say one thing, that this is not a new problem. This is a systemic problem, Mr. Yadav, that everybody needs to take responsibility. Since things were no different when your party was in power.
No. That is not the way. Anyway, good evening to all the co-panelists. I would like to say that this is not you cannot say this was the same situation when Congress was there in power. When Siddaramaiah was there, for example, the recent past when we were in power, when Siddaramaiah was there for 5 years in administration, he had made it mandatory that every month he goes around the city and find out what are the issues are about. And the in-charge minister was given responsibility to go every week the city rounds in Bangalore city. And we all know it, one of the fastest growing city in the world is Bangalore city. And today, one of the senior citizens is passed away on an accident. And recently in February, we saw a medical student also passed away in an accident. These are not the incident, one or two incidents. There are many instances happening every day. And many patients with the back pain or with some other medical reason that travel, they find it so difficult to move around. I'm definitely telling you, Congress had a concern for the development of Bangalore city. You know it very well when S.M. Krishna was there also, what best we could do for the development of Bangalore. Whether when S.M. Krishna was there, whether it is Siddaramaiah was there. We have concentrated on the development. To be very frank with you.
Nagaraju Yadav, I don't know if you've ever visited Bengaluru or you live there, but you seem to be in a complete different world of denial. Allow me to tell you, and Saurabh can come in or any of the other panelists can come in and back me up on this as well. No, sir, you are lying on national TV, or you are in denial about the problems that existed during your government. 3 deaths. Listen to me now. Don't try and outshout me. Don't try and outshout me. You have made a very, very blatant lie claim on this show. I want to give you the facts. 3 deaths, 17,000 potholes, 15 days. That's when Chief Minister Siddaramaiah woke up from his slumber in 2017. Mr. Yadav, you're coming for the first time on my show. Let me just tell you that on this show, we listen to each other. Now, you have made a claim that there was no problem of potholes during Siddaramaia's government. Allow me to tell you, there were pothole-related deaths during Siddaramaia's tenure. There was a study that was done that showed there were 17,000 potholes at one point of time in the city, leading to 3 different accidents in one specific time period. There have been assurances after assurances given by Siddaramaiah as the Chief Minister, saying, I will fix all potholes in 15 days' time. Every Chief Minister gives the same assurance, we will fix all potholes in 15 days' time. I am going to now assure you and take actions against officials, and we will fix this. There is even a comment. Allow me to tell you this. There is a comment by Siddaramaiah when he was the Chief Minister that not potholes, accidents are killing people. He went to the level of denying that there are potholes in the city and that people are dying because of other accidents and not potholes. So please don't preach us about the reality of what existed.
No.
People in the city of Bengaluru have lived it for long enough.
Instance, I remember it was not because of the pothole. He justified that one. But what I'm trying to tell you is the Congress government had a decision in the cabinet to give 6,500 crores for development of Bangalore when his term was done every year. But now the BJP government in power is ignoring the capital city today. The fastest growing city in the world is Bangalore city, ignored by BJP. They are responsible if they're not able to give a proper road. We
have the 17,000 potholes at one point of time. Is that how you were taking care of the city?
323 kilometers of road, length of road with us in the main roads. But what I'm asking is the moral responsibility of the BJP government to give enough funds for Bangalore development, because Bangalore people in the city Bangalore, the citizens are paying more than 68% of the taxpayers to the exchequer today. Why they should be suffered? Why senior citizens should die today? Or anybody for that matter? It is the whole responsibility of the government and the failure of the administration. Today, they're not even conducting the elections in the BBMP, and the administrators are not taking the enough responsibility on these issues and not fixing the responsibility of the people for these incidents. The second thing, we had so much of lockdowns in the recent past. They could have used that period for repairing the roads, which they ignored totally because they don't have money. In fact, when BJP
they don't have money. Allow me to tell you this. A problem in this city is that the VVIPs only think about themselves and about VVIP areas. Church Street has seen crores of money being spent for a swanky look and another modern look and another modern look and another renovation and another makeover year after year. 2015, 2018, 2020. Crores have been spent on a stretch of just a kilometer. So, if the money is there, it can be used for better purposes, provided the VVIPs want the rest of Bengaluru to actually look good as well. I'm going to go across to some of our viewers on the phone line.
How the Bangalore can develop?
Mr. Pratap Reddy is calling us from Bengaluru. He's been patiently waiting on the phone line. Good evening, Mr. Reddy. What would you like to say?
Good evening, Tanvi. See, I've been listening to this conversation and... Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I've been listening to this conversation, and I feel all these are only excuses by all these politicians. They are only giving excuses about rains and the roads. See, roads, if people go out on study tours to abroad, you mean to say they don't study how the roads are formed there? They don't come here and do the same thing here? See, the roads are done 6 months before the elections just to please the people there. 6 months after, not even 6 months, 6 months after the election, the road is back to square one.
Yeah.
Nothing there. And it is the contractors and the people concerned who are making money there. They know you have to put this much of inches of tar in this thing. They know that very well. They don't do it because then they don't get another job again.
You're absolutely right. Pratap Reddy, thank you for calling. And I must say that don't give any more ideas to those in power. You say they go visit abroad on study tours. Don't they see the state of roads and learn? This will just give them an idea to plan another junket to go around the world without actually implementing any of their learnings on ground. Santosh calling us again from Bengaluru. Good evening, Mr. Santosh. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Tanvi, for the opportunity. With due respect to the panelists, I disagree with the politicians. The monsoon is seasonal and regular. It is habitual to blame the monsoon and nature for every pothole death. I am amused. It is nothing but poor quality of road. Netars go to junket to study infrastructure, but implemented at the ground is very zero. Ultimately, poor citizen has to suffer. if you fix the erring officials and accountability, then these leaders, netas will understand immediately. Each death on road due to potholes and poor infrastructure, heavy penalty should be levied. Then the government will understand what quality is all about. Government should well prepare before monsoon, and roads should be pothole free. So many times court also has chided and taken the task the administration of Karnataka. This is my view.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much, Santosh, for calling. And you know, I just want to say, this is how the people of Bengaluru themselves see it. They see through the sham, they see through the empty assurances, and they don't buy these excuses, because at the end of the day, the point is that if rains were actually damaging our roads so much, then even in the poshest of the areas near the chief minister's residence, near the governor's place, rains would be the ones damaging the roads. They never are. Go to any VVIP area, the roads are always fine. How is that? That's the big question. How is that, Mr. Narasimhan? Unless we do have the technology, we choose not to use it.
See, what has happened is that, unfortunately, like what Kshitij mentioned earlier, the whole thing has become an annuity project. People don't want to, the one criticism of the tender sure roads is that it costs a lot per kilometer, right? So what happens is that a typical road laid to international standards, I don't want to keep using the word tender sure because there are many variations of that possible, but a road to reasonable, let us say, national standards, according to the Ministry of Road Transport Guidelines, would roughly cost between 4 to 7 crore a kilometer. And I don't mean the road itself, the road, the footpath, the entire right of way. It roughly costs that much. What the civic agencies do is roughly spend between 50 lakhs to 1 crore a kilometer to fix the road. What happens is that this lasts exactly for that period of time, about a year, till the next rain. And then it becomes an annuity contract. The criticism that roads built to national standards are more expensive is ignored because we are always scared of high capital costs. But if you spend it once, you don't have to touch that road again for 10 years or 15 years except for routine maintenance. If there's an accident or something gets broken or something like that. Unfortunately, we have got into this whole annuity-based contract, which is some kind of, I would say, I don't know whether to call it corruption, but some kind of feedback mechanism that has become perpetuated and embedded in public works contracts. So fundamentally, we have, like what Mr. Kshitij mentioned, Professor Kshitij mentioned, that we have to convert the method in which we create these roads itself and not get bogged down in whether give it a label or not. That's not the point. You have to be able to spend a higher capex upfront to fix all the utilities under the footpaths and under the roads, and also get a high quality asphalt surface, as our Pothole Raja friend, it's got a name, I don't know the technical name, but it's some kind of asphalt, which has to be laid correctly or maybe as concrete, so that endless digging and resurfacing the road, this annuity contract story is destroyed. To do that, you have to go up against the entire lobby of people who are resistant to change. It's not that they'll not find out how to make money from the change specification. They're only afraid of the process of transition from what they've been used to doing to be able to build a road of national standards. So if we are able to make the systemic change, hopefully corruption also will go down and we will get a better quality of road infrastructure in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and for all the promises of getting rid of corruption, Captain Karnik, the situation doesn't seem to have changed. In fact, what we do get is shrugging off responsibility. This is not BBMP's job, it's not BDA's job, it's not the government's job, it's not the Home Minister's portfolio, it's not the Chief Minister's portfolio. When will that change?
I must thank Professor Narasimhan. Actually, I'm listening to you for the first time. Maybe keeping out the politics and what all has been happening all these years, I think a very important and a very serious issue has to be addressed from a very professional angle. I think when there are people like Professor Narasimhan and many others, unless we bring in this professional competence as an element into our planning we'll only be in an annuity, like I said, we'll be only talking about this during monsoons and then forget about it. What is amazing is we all know about it, but successive governments have not been able to, implement all these things. Every year during the rains, we have a similar debate. But what happens after that? Like you rightly said, 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, we'll forget about this. Then again, the manage. During rains, we'll again suffer. I personally feel all of us collectively forget about politics, forget about political debate. We have to address these issues. Yes, 130,000 people, or a little more than that. In fact, 1.2, 1.3 crore people living in Bangalore. And this increase in population, increase in the road density, and narrow roads being used by multiple vehicles at a point of time, overloading, people digging it, people matlab not citizens, different departments digging without any prior approval and not planning, no underground planning. All these things have aggravated the issue. I'm not talking of excuses. What I'm trying to say is when we are expanding, there must be professional planning brought into, and modern day road making technologies available, and all this can be brought into our planning and implemented.
Okay. Yes. The point is whether there is an intent and the lobby that exists is going to allow this change to take place, even if there is an attempt that is actually made. Let me actually go back to Professor Kshitij. Professor Kshitij, the question then is, and the point that Saurabh also made is, what else can be done? We can continue to put the onus and ask our authorities, but in absence of any accountability there, what can the citizens do?
I'm really glad Naresh mentioned the costs of what is being called the tender show roads. He mentioned a maximum of 7 crores. But you should know on this channel that the first phase of tender show roads costed about 13 crores. There were budget escalations which were made without any consent of the BBMP. So much so that the BBMP mayor, as well as BBMP corporators, as well as the standing committee chairpersons, went public against tender show roads. I don't necessarily blame BBMP for everything, but there are certain processes which are very opaque in nature. Now, it's really not just about cost all the time. It's also about creativity. I mean, if you look at a lot of other countries across the world, you can cut down on a lot of cost if there's an integrated thinking that is happening between the government as well as local people. You just take the white topping project, which was being implemented both by the Congress as well as the BJP. Now, science very clearly says, and I'm sure Naresh will support me on that you go for white topping only, in areas which receive more than 3,000 to 4,000 mm of rain every year. Bangalore receives less than 1,000 mm per precipitation per year. So why have we gone for white topping? Isn't it conspicuous in the way we make decisions? We want large projects, but the quality and accountability is absolutely nil. So like one of the speakers, the call-in speaker said, bureaucrats have to be made accountable for every incident on the road. And local people who are not even aware of what is happening right in front of their house have to actively participate. I would want to say that the 74th Amendment, which governs the cities, very clearly says that cities have to be dynamic units of self-governments. What is dynamism? Where is dynamism in Bangalore? It's always a slavish mentality, which is, of the citizens. I'm supposed to be slavish in our mentality, but where is the dynamism? People have to participate, they have to voice out, there has to be creative thinking, local management of projects, local accountability. All the cost that is put on a road will have to be put on the road somewhere. There has to be a board which says, okay, this is how much we spend, which was mentioned earlier, but it's never been followed up with. So we really do not know if the actual monies were spent on making of the road. So it's just a post-mortem that we are engaged in right now. And we have to look much, much more seriously, because this is also becoming an annual affair of debate, an annual debate on our roads and quality of roads. This has to change. And this can change only if the systemic rot is dealt with.
Yes, it's a systemic rot that we need to look at, and not just at makeshift solutions that come every time this problem actually comes up. Roshan is on the phone. He's calling us from Mumbai, yet another city that has huge pothole problems, pothole menace. Again, another city where citizens often take to the streets to fix this problem themselves. Good evening, Roshan. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My point is that, like, every year we are discussing the same thing, people are losing life due to the potholes. So I want to know, like, why are we not able to fix this issue? Like, is there a way we can ask the civic bodies to display the board of the concerned authority who is responsible to manage the road, so that the government should know, like, whom to approach,
Yes, you've raised a very valid point. We've actually repeatedly spoken about that as well. Because even for the citizen to first complain, Saurabh, and I'm sure in the earlier days before you took it upon yourself, you would have faced the same problem. In many cities, to complain, you don't know who to go. You go to one civic authority, they send you to another development authority, they'll send you to a third one. Sometimes suddenly they'll say, oh, no, this is, central government land, this is railway land, we have no control over it. Isn't it, Saurabh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Though there is a hustle between where to reach out to and where not to reach out to. And, I've been listening patiently to all the panelists, and when, everybody has pointed out that there is a need of upgradation of, technology as well. And that's the only solution. I mean, we can't keep looking back into what was being done, 50, 60 years back, and we can't rely on the same technology that was being used in the past. We have to move ahead. And as an organization, one is, of course, pointing where exactly this leads to. Another is, do we actually move ahead? Are we moving ahead for finding out the right solutions to this? Are we upgrading our technology? I mean, white topping is what we've seen. I mean, if it's a concrete road, definitely it helps in ensuring that potholes are not there. But what can be, done beyond that? So, as an organization, we have been focusing a lot more on, can we use, waste material in developing road infrastructure? And we, in fact, have, upgraded ourselves as well. Just to answer to Mr. Naresh, when he was pointing out that we use something called cold asphalt, which is all weather proof. We have gone beyond that, and we have converted waste plastic into, making into road technology. So we all are speaking about, corrective maintenance, right? Rain happens, pothole happens. That is beyond anybody's control. Can we make roads which, never develop potholes? So that's where we have to go ahead, and that's where citizens who are complaining or citizens who are raising an alarm. And I think, I'm really happy to hear this from people from across the country, that now people are more woke. People are more vocal towards, identifying these issues. And that's what we have been highlighting this, and we have been promoting this, that can we be more conscious towards the society that we live in?
Correct.
That's where we can make this collectively to a better society for us to,
to begin with, we need to at least start speaking about that there is a problem.
Yes.
and it's not okay with us, and our authorities and our governments who are elected to power can't take it for granted that we will silently bear this. We will highlight, we are ready to collectively, to together work with the authorities, to together work in our local wards, in our, individual areas of these cities where we live in, to work with the local development authorities, civic body, experts, urban planners. We are ready to do all of that. As long as those who've been elected to power or appointed to these civic bodies to do this as their job, don't stop and don't shrug responsibility. You can't put the onus only on the citizens to do all the work while you relax and mint money over corrupt schemes. That's not okay. And we're going to continue raising our voice about that, city after city. This problem is not getting better or going away. It's actually worsening. That's the unfortunate part. Thank you for joining us.